them at birth, had set up in competition. "Let me wash and dress her for the burial," said Vanessa. "Of course I offer my service free. Maybe just that chicken there for my trouble. I see it is old and stringy." "Let me hold her," said Nazneen's aunt, Mumtaz, who was crying. "I thought it was indigestion," said Rupban, also beginning to cry. Mumtaz took hold of Nazneen, who was still dangling by the ankle, and felt the small, slick torso slide through her fingers to plop with a yowl onto the blood-stained mattress. A yowl, a cry. Rupban scooped her up and named her before she could die nameless again. Vanessa made little explosions with her lips. She used the corner of her yellowing sari to wipe some spittle from her chin. "This is called a death rattle," she explained. The three women put their faces close to the child. Nazneen flailed her arms and yelled, as if she could see this terrifying sight. She began to lose the blueness and turned slowly to brown and purple. "God has called her back to earth," said Vanessa with a look of disgust. Mumtaz, who was beginning to doubt Vanessa's original diagnosis, said, "Well, didn't he just send her to us a few minutes ago? Do you think he changes his mind every second?" Vanessa mumbled beneath her breath. She put her hand over Nazneen's chest, her twisted fingers like the roots of an old tree that had worked their way above ground. "The baby lives, but she is weak. There are 2 routes you can follow," she said, addressing herself solely to Rupban. "Take her to the city, to a hospital. They will put wires on her and give medicines. This is very expensive. You will have to sell your jewelry. Or you can just see what fate will do." She turned a little to Mumtaz to include her now and then back to Rupban. "Of course, fate will decide everything in the end, whatever route you follow." "We will take her to the city," said Mumtaz, red patches of defiance rising on her cheeks. But Rupban, who could not stop crying, held her daughter to her breast and shook her head. "No," she said, "we must not stand in the way of fate. Whatever happens, I accept it, and my child must not waste any energy fighting against fate. That way she will be stronger." "Good, then it is settled," said Vanessa. She hovered for a moment or two because she was hungry enough, almost, to eat the baby. But after a look from Mumtaz, she shuffled away back to her hovel. Hamid came to look at Nazneen. She was wrapped in cheesecloth and laid on an old jute sack on top of the bedroll. Her eyes were closed and puffed as though she had taken 2 hard punches. "A girl," said Rupban. "I know. Never mind," said Hamid. "What can you do?" And he went away again. Mumtaz came in with a tin plate of rice dal and chicken curry. "She doesn't feed," Rupban told her. "She doesn't know what to do. Probably it is her fate to starve to death." Mumtaz rolled her eyes. "She'll feed in the morning. Now you eat, or you are destined to die of hunger too." She smiled at her sister-in-law's small, sad face, all her features lined up, as ever, to mourn for everything that had passed and all that would come to pass. But Nazneen did not feed in the morning, nor the next day. The day after, she turned her face away from the nipple and made gagging noises. Rupban, who was famous for crying, couldn't keep up with the demand for tears. People came. Aunts, uncles, cousins, brothers, nephews, nieces, in-laws, village women, and Vanessa. The midwife dragged her bent feet across the hard mud floor of the hut and peered at the infant. "I have heard of one child who would not feed from the mother but was suckled by a goat." She smiled and showed her black gums. "Oh, of course, that was not one of my babies." Hamid came once or twice, but at night he slept outside on a chowki. On the 5th day, when Rupban, in spite of herself, was beginning to wish that fate would hurry and make up its mind, Nazneen clamped her mouth around the nipple so that 1,000 red-hot needles ran through Rupban's breast and made her cry out for pain and for the relief of a good and patient woman. As Nazneen grew, she heard many times this story of how you were left to your fate.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.